Friendship supreme. Friendship supreme. Finding the geek within.
What's up, everybody? I'm Michael,
This is Cleve.
and welcome to an exciting episode of Friendship,
Supreme.
the podcast that dares to ask what terrible Christmas movies are out this year. I don't think it started out watching bad movies, but somehow that's all it is.
I'm going to blame you real quick. I think
That's
you
fair.
got really excited about Santa Jaws one year, and it never came back up.
We
It
did.
just stayed up there.
We did have one fan suggest Santa and the Easter Bunny or Easter Bunny Island, the Ice Cream Bunny, whatever it
That one
was.
didn't go that one didn't go well either. I
That-
would be curious to go back and see how bad.
I
When did it start?
I wanted to drown myself after watching that one.
Did we watch two different movies?
Oh, we did. There were two different versions of the movie, and somehow we watched two different ones.
Yeah, go check that one out.
Anyways, today, guys, we're talking about Dear Santa, starring Jack Black and nobody else notable.
Keegan,
Oh, that's fair.
he's in it.
Michael Keegan.
He's a name. And the dad's someone, but not enough for me to remember.
He looks so much like Judge Reinhold, but not enough. The guy that played in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, the older brother.
Post Malone was in it. My God.
Yo, the amount of times that they said the name Post Malone, my wife looked at me and goes, "Is Post Malone going to be in this movie?" I said, "Kate, there's no way he's not going to be in this movie now. They've said his name so many times. I imagine he's got a front billing in this movie."
On IMDb, he is number 6.
It's impressive because let me tell you, he's in it.
Yeah, none of the other names are super. Kyle Gass is in it.
Oh,
None of
that's
the
right.
other names are super standouts.
I did yell, "That's Kyle Gass!" as he came on the scene, and
Yeah, I think it's the rebirth of the D, man.
Katie was like, "Oh, he did look familiar." I'm like, yeah. I
don't
was
recognize
like,
everybody else.
they said they weren't talking anymore, but they are. They are talking.
Or this was shot before either one.
That's
either
what
one
she
of
said,
those.
but I told her not to let it crush my dreams. So I'll tell you the same thing. Don't crush the dream.
And Mr. Charles, the guy who played Mr. Charles, he also is a familiar face. The teacher?
Ah, yes. He is a familiar face.
He's in 5 episodes of The Boys, apparently. Anyway.
Anyways,
Uh,
this movie is a Jack Black movie, and quite possibly the worst Jack Black movie.
yeah, by far.
I don't think I've seen one that I've hated more than this one.
It's rough. Why don't you tell everybody what the movie's about, and then we can just kind of like pick at it.
I really try to find a reason to love everything that Jack Black does, and this one is so rough. Anyway, so a child who is suffering from something, and we don't know what.
He's got learning differences.
He does have learning differences. It's dyslexia. But he was actually suffering from other things that they will then get into later for no reason other than to... anyways, he has dyslexia, so he still writes letters to Santa and wrote a letter to Santa, but in fact wrote the word Satan.
Same letters.
And he put it in the
conspiracies.
mailbox, and it wound up in Jack Black's hands, who, for all you're concerned, is in fact Satan.
Hey, he does cool stuff. He makes a cat dunk and say, Santa's the shit. And
He did say Santa is the shit. So the kid is confused and thinks Jack Black looks awfully weird to be Santa Claus. And once once Satan realizes that that this kid's expecting Santa Claus, he then tries to pretend to be Santa Claus until it is unveiled that he is in fact not, and that he has made a deal with the devil for his soul. And he's allowed to have 3 wishes, and he is tricked into making his first wish, and then says, "No worries, I just won't make any wishes." And the kid's kind-hearted kid who has a best friend who he lies to his parents and says has cancer and is a
Ooh, they
football
harp on
star.
them cancer jokes.
They really, yeah, they hit him home.
They really fucking. You could have made the joke once, but you just kept hammering away at it.
Kept going.
How's the treatment going? And all kinds of.
What kind of cancer do you have? Ooh, the bad one.
The really bad.
The really bad kind.
I will say.
Yeah.
So. I didn't like a lot of this.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think Emma was great. I had no problems with Emma, the love interest girl, and his friend Gibby threw me a chuckle every now and then. I thought he was funny in some parts.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think here at Friendship Supreme, we have been lenient on child actors for the most part, as we've discussed how children actors are, children, and so they're not always to be expected to be the best. He's giving me a look right now, and it's because he's going to refer to Home Alone. I'm getting there.
Any child actor.
That's fair.
But to be fair, the level, there's not a lot of child actors on like a high level, right?
Correct.
Everybody's not Natalie Portman when she was a child.
Accurate.
So I do grade on a curve because most kids are. But I'm gonna tell you right now, if Liam, if his character was supposed to be just super awkward and uncomfortable all the time, he was nailing it.
I think he nailed his character.
He was, yeah.
I was gonna say, because the only thing I could think of was like, the kid in Home Alone was just a piece of shit. Like, I was driven to want to hate him. I actually was supposed to like Liam, so I was trying my hardest to like give him benefit of the doubt. But the acting was rough, and it wasn't just on the kids. The parents' acting was not great.
Yeah, I think people also get some sort of unnecessary pass when it's a Christmas movie, which I don't feel like is necessarily a curve that everyone should get.
Agreed.
You can just be a good actor in a movie. You don't have to phone it in because it's not a great movie.
Great example for that is, as much as we harp on cheesy Christmas movies, I still to this day say that the one with Lindsay Lohan, like last year or the year before, she actually did a great job at acting.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you remember. I don't think you liked it as much as I did. But...
Okay, was it her acting or was it acting? Did she do well for her or did she do well as an actor? Like, compared to actresses?
I found it to be an enjoyable Christmas movie, which is not common because A, I hate Christmas, and B, I hate Christmas movies.
That's the one where she got
she fell, right? Yeah.
She has another one.
Does she? Interesting. Yeah.
It's also on Netflix. It's new this year.
So
that's just her gig now, I guess.
Yeah. You know what?
See you in December.
Good for her for recovering and figuring shit out.
Sure, yeah.
Here's the thing. I thought the premise of this was fantastic. I thought, wow, this could be a fun movie. And that's where it ended.
It really, I don't know where it lost me. Because at first I thought they weren't going to address it directly. And I was like, well, that's a good route to go because it's still a kid's movie. Mm-hmm. And then it was like, yeah, no, fucking Satan, Easter Bunny, Santa, all that shit. Let's do it. God? Where's God? That's what I'm saying. I'm like...
I think where they really failed was they had no idea what direction they wanted to go in, and they just went in all the directions. Because I think a good example of it is halfway through, not even halfway, halfway through the movie, he says to his best friend Gibby, I got some serious shit that I want to talk to you about. And he's like, deflection. I don't want to talk about serious shit. I'm not good at it.
First of all.
100%. If you say don't trauma dump on
Hey.
me, then don't trauma dump on me.
That ain't for me, dog. I appreciate you.
And so then they drop it. And then at like 2/3 of the movie, we're like, hey, I used to have a brother. This is after Gibby has supposedly done him wrong. And he's like, I have a brother that died. And this is just kind of dropped on you. Like there was
younger
one other
brother.
conversation. Yeah, there was one other conversation where the parents are fighting. So like, we start out with the dad's a douchebag. The mom is has something going on, but you don't know what. Then like halfway through the movie, they have a fight with each other, and she says, "Go ahead, blame me for Spencer." And you're like, I don't even know what that fucking name means. What are we talking about?
So they do mention moving because of the tragedy.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, that's true.
I thought that they had just like lost a pregnancy. Not that that's a lower like
No, agreed. Understood.
level of trauma, but I was like, oh, okay, like maybe something happened where she lost a baby and they really struggled to recover it. No, they lost a whole ass kid.
Well, and as dumb as it sounds, I thought that the reason they left was because he had some mental instabilities, like talking to invisible friends, and like I thought we were gonna tie that into the whole Santa thing, or like the Satan and Santa thing, like like he's making up characters again, or like maybe he got bullied. I don't know. Like there's so many things that
Yeah.
could have happened to this fucking kid, and they were
We
just like
did
they
not
just straight
need-
dropped a kid getting hit.
We did not need the death of a younger brother,
No.
like at all. And I'm just gonna go ahead and spoil it to the end of this. They brought him back to life, and I'm like, did Santa do this? Are we just gonna have a bunch of kids who've lost someone ask Santa for them back? What are we doing at the end of this movie? The end of this movie went off the rails for me.
They just had no
I
idea
was
what they
like-
wanted.
I was like, okay, I'm trying to keep up a little bit. I'm still here. Like, what? Jack Black's not really the devil. It's Ben Stiller. Why is Ben Stiller here? And
Not credited,
now-
by the way.
now he wakes up. I guess that hides the reveal. He wakes up Christmas morning and his brother's just alive, and he's like, "Oh my god, thanks." And I thought maybe, okay, so at first I was like, "Oh, maybe he's just seeing him there, but he's not really there."
Mhm.
But then that's not what happened.
Nope.
And then I was like, okay, maybe he got to live in a different world where this tragedy didn't happen. But then his best friend's like, yeah, I told the girl that your brother died. And I was like, where? Where am I? Where am I in this plot?
No,
It was-
didn't you know that demons that have turned good and gone to become angels, I think, now can be...
Is that what happened to him?
Yeah, so as he flew in as a vulture and he left as a dove.
Mm.
And so that was like
So-
a transition of going from good to evil to good. But then also he said, I owed you a third last wish. I just read whatever was in your letter and I gave you that. And that's when the kid's like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. Because, he did, as Katie kept pointing out, say, I can't change the things that happened in the past.
Mhm.
I explained to Katie, I'm sure it's I can't change grand historical facts. Like I can't say, oh, the 9/11 didn't happen, but I can be like, all right, this one kid gets to live. But
So, like-
still, like that's me just grasping at straws to try to make sense of this movie.
Because like Liam remembers he passed.
Yep.
So I'm guessing, does this extend to extended family? Do the grandparents know he's
The
back
parents
now?
didn't.
Yeah,
The
that's
parents
what I'm saying.
didn't acknowledge that it would happen.
That's what I'm saying. So like, they're within proximity. Do the grandparents know? Does Liam's uncle know that his son, his nephew's back?
And here's
It
the
was-
thing, to tie on to what you're talking about Gibby, his friend, if we were to say that Liam told Gibby, my brother's dead, and so Gibby remembers that enough to be able to tell other people that his brother's dead. Gibby has been inside his house and has been around theoretically, that brother never died. It's not a matter of poof, he's there, because remember, the parents are like, oh yeah, we moved here because
Why
our
did we
neighbor,
move again?
yeah.
Yeah.
And so like they don't remember him ever dying. So theoretically, we've wiped that part of the timeline, and he's just existed until now. So Gibby has seen this brother. He has been in this house. You're telling me you don't know that kid exists?
Yeah, well, because that is hard to hang on to because Gibby's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, your brother passed away." I mean,
Yeah.
maybe he could have thought it was an older brother, but like, if he'd seen him, he wouldn't be like, "No, he didn't. I've seen him. Why would I tell her that?"
There were so many times where this movie wanted us to laugh, and all I could do was go, "This is the cringiest fucking shit ever." And it made me uncomfortable. And it was situations like that, because that at the end was supposed to be a joke. It was supposed to be like how Gibby had to lie about having cancer, and so like it was supposed to be like shenanigans, and it was just like,
Which-
God, this is fucking terrible.
Joking about two topics that I feel like you need to absolutely nail, or they are gonna go terribly. I will again though saying I wrote two things down that Gibby said that I found really funny, and he was like, he was talking to Liam about how he wrote to Satan, and he was like, that's not Satan, that's Santa, and he was like, no, like really look at what you wrote for a second, and he was like, there's no such thing as Satan. He goes, so you're good with believing Santa, but they're not going to believe in Satan. I need you to pick a lane because if I'm working with you, I need you to know what you're about. And the other one was where he was talking about he was getting jealous and insecure, and Liam was like, "Isn't that one of the deadly sins?" And Gibby goes, "There's 7 of them. We don't stand a chance." And I was like, "Yo, that's." Gibby spit out them real lines.
So the movie started, right? About probably 20 minutes into the movie. And I looked at Katie and I was like, hey, I need to say something and not like, I need it to be a judgment free moment when I say this. I said, because I'm going to say some fucked up shit about a kid that I don't mean in any negative way, but I just need to say it right now. And she goes, okay. I go, those fucking teeth are fake, right?
I looked it up immediately.
She goes, no, I don't think so. She goes, it's really kind of fucked up of you to make fun of the kid for his teeth. I go, please don't do this to me. I said, because I'm telling you now, I can hear it. It feels like I'm hearing that it is very naturally not supposed to be in his mouth. Like it's something just jammed in his mouth. And I said, and I'm looking at him, and while I understand that there are people that have teeth like that, and that's fine, like that's not something people can control. I don't, I'm not trying to judge people, but like those are fake and it's obvious, right? And she's like, I don't think so. So I fucking had to Google it immediately. I'm like, all right, we got fucking where's this kid? What does he look like? And sure enough, fucking completely.
The moment I saw that kid, I Googled it. And you know what? What I think irritated me about that is I was like, okay, look, we've got this kid who's, a heavy set kid with glasses and stubby little short kid. And then we got this kid with his teeth. Like, okay, we're casting kids that we're giving these kids shots. But then I'm like, okay, you just did this so that you could do a thing later.
So you could be like, oh, he's better now.
That I would have accepted, except you added this dead brother twist, and you wished for his parents to get along and be happy. So, like, we don't need both these things.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Spencer parents hating each other, unnecessary.
Didn't need to be a thing at all. And there was some weird shift, and Katie was the first one to notice it. There's a weird shift somewhere in the movie where the dad instantly goes from being just a piece of shit to like he suddenly turned a new leaf and like he just wants to be a good dad. That had not been shown at all.
Yeah. I mean, I can buy that just for the simple fact that like
dead kid.
What? Yeah.
Yeah, I get that, but like also like we just threw the dead kid in as like I agree.
Yeah,
and that's what I kept saying.
It could have just been the Christmas love that got him.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't have to be this. Also, Jack Black did deliver one line where he said, and it got me. I was like, "Fuck you!" I wasn't ready for it. I don't know if you remember. He said, I'm the devil, not a trusted relative."
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, he did
fuck.
say that. I did
Fuck.
laugh. It was good. He said we got a lot of those
God.
touchy uncle types down there. And I'm like, God
Oh
damn it.
boy. I was like,
Ugh.
ah.
Yeah,
Ooh.
this movie just didn't know what it wanted to be. It tried to be a
No.
comedy, but at the same time was just dark.
I feel like we had really adult stakes for a
Yes.
child's Christmas movie. Now, had they rated this like a rated R movie, like they had the other movies that children are in that are more adult movies, like, okay, you know what I mean? Like,
I guess it's
there's
technically PG-13.
boy, I guess.
It
I'm thinking what age I want to start explaining the devil to people.
well,
Stop.
I just again, I think that it just didn't know what it wanted to do. Like it had such random moments of like the Post Malone shit. Like it was
Such a
so
long scene.
it was such a long bit. Like, all right, this kid's got to dance with Post Malone, and then he was like shitty to his friend, and I feel like we were really gonna build on that part, but then we
Mhm.
didn't.
hmm Oh, also, I didn't mind the joke where he was like, "All right, Gibby, you got the nosebleeds," and he was like, "I want to sit down there with my friends." He was like, "What am I, like a Ticketmaster bot?" Like I.
Uh, yeah, there were good lines. It could have been strictly a comedy, and I think I would have found some joy in it. It could have been strictly dark, and I'd have been like, all right, I didn't like this, but I knew where they were going the whole time.
Yeah.
But like, it just had no rhyme or reason to the things it wanted to do.
Complete waste of Keegan too. Like
As
just
the counselor,
yeah, and then the choking on a peanut joke.
yeah.
Like how long? Just an all over the place movie.
But don't worry, we also had a shit joke in it. Because pee pee poo poo be funny.
Yo, you say that, but there's a guy on TikTok that I watch who walks to the park.
I know
poop-
you keep sending those to me, and I'm like,
farting.
God, I was like, I watched one the other day that you sent to me, and I'm like, I know Cleve finds these funny, but God, I just am like, why is this grown man doing this shit?
It's just reactionary of other people, and that's like Jackass, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to watch people doing shit on Jackass, but when you watch other people watch that shit happen, and Practical Jokers, same thing.
Fair.
That might not be funny, but watching people have to react to that is funny. But this was a movie where nobody was reacting, and it was just whatever.
There was no redeemable factor in this. There were a couple times I laughed, but I'm telling you now, I would rate this in the bottom 5 movies I think I've ever seen in my life. And we purposely watch shitty movies.
Yeah, that's why I'm not gonna say that necessarily, but
I'm willing to
Here's
put it like bottom 5 movies I've ever seen. I don't think there's a redeemable moment in it. At least Katie enjoys Post Malone. I don't even like him.
yeah,
We did discuss that we're pretty sure he had to have been. This is still during his drinking era that we recorded this, or that we filmed this movie.
that culture vulture. Yeah, I got a tomato meter of 36 and a popcorn meter of 43.
I would love to meet the people giving it this score. You know what? Can you find one good review? We usually do guess a review, but what's a good review?
I mean, I'll look, but 36 and there's a 4-star. It is fun. Just enjoy it.
It wasn't.
Dear Santa is the same category as Elf. It's full of funny lines and clever scenes, but hindered by a need to be heartwarming and family friendly. This will become another annual watch for me because it will take about a year to forget the lame parts. A funny and good movie.
This motherfucker compared this shit to Elf, my number 1 fucking Christmas movie of all time.
It has a really good story, which the plot we agreed. I saw some pastors pearl clutching, so I had to find out what the fuss was about. How could they put Satan in a Christmas movie? In parentheses, it's really a redemption story. Nothing for the uh, to devout of to, nothing for the devout to fear. It was lighthearted and reminded me of the PG-13 humor I had growing up with. And the main kid did really great, which I don't disagree.
I don't disagree.
I was rooting for him. There were a few twists at the end, and one got me pretty misty, which is rare. Would love to know which one that is.
Oh, it's the brother
What?
coming back.
It's such a
My wife looks for like she's one of those people that fucking loves watching like the shit that'll make her cry, and she looks for a reason for it. I love her to death, but she looks for a fucking reason to cry. And I'm telling you right now, she watched that shit, was like, this is the dumbest shit ever. She looked at me and goes, if that kid got brought fucking back, this movie goes in the dumpster pile.
I feel like you have a responsibility when you're making certain movies like this that like can you imagine if you had a child that you lost and then your child's watching this and it's like, oh man, I maybe.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Like it's a weird move that I'm not the biggest fan of.
Well, and he started out by saying, I can't do that. You had the easy out. They had to do was love each other. Like, you already had your redemption factor, and that Jack Black got redeemed somehow by, you know, not being super shitty, but kind of being shitty. And then
Well,
go ahead, sorry.
it just goes to show if you do your job bad enough, then
You
you
fail
would
up,
to heaven.
failing up, baby. And then the second thing, the parents, because he was like, I actually owed you a third wish because your parents, you asked for them to fall in love, and I didn't even do that. Like, they did that all on their own, so you get a third wish. So there's your redemption, is that the parents realized, hey, maybe we shouldn't be so shitty, and we have this one kid that is still here. Let's be the best parents we can be for him. And so, like, they do that. There's your redemption. We don't need his brother to come back from the dead. I've seen Pet Cemetery. Shit doesn't go well when you bring kids back from the dead.
Just the acceptance of like,
Yeah.
you know, hey, we're all moving on and being happy together. I feel like would have been more than enough. Even like I enjoy Ben Stiller and Jack Black together, and like even their scene was very.
So okay.
It felt like it was shot separately.
Like they needed another reason for him to.
Or like, oh, you know, you got his wish or false pretense. Like, we didn't need.
No.
They just, oh, hey, the deal is if he makes a thoughtful wish, then he gets to be free.
Yep.
Like, and you move on.
Yep. Because that's what I thought the premise would be. Inevitably, I was like, oh, he's just gonna make like an unselfish wish, and it's gonna be like, oh fuck, like you beat me.
And I thought that was going to be the third wish. Then we took Emma, who was I liked her.
Yeah.
And I thought she was.
I don't think any of the kids, none of the kids were like, fuck that kid, like that.
Oh, what was
the
his name?
bully.
What was his name? Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyway, yeah, like the one sweet, lighthearted character who was like, hey, this kid's got to learn disability. You don't make fun of that shit. And hey, you just standing up for everybody, and then like we manipulated her.
Yep.
And I was like, man, all right then, I guess, cool.
Again, I stand by. I don't believe there to be a redeemable factor in this movie, and I'm flabbergasted that people would give it a 4-star or talk about how great it was.
Aiden was his name. Also, there's a cast listing here that just says attractive girl. Not a fan. Not a fan of that list at all.
Maybe don't do that. But I don't know.
Because who's categorizing that as that?
One of those people that should have been on the fucking Nickelodeon special. What was the all that thing? And the fucking
Quiet on Set.
Quiet on Set. Yep. One of those fucking pieces of shit is the type of person that's out there going, this 13-year-old, she's because of that attractive girl. I fucking hate it.
Kai Ketch is what I will call her. This is her 6th movie, so good for her. Or 6th acting gig, we'll say.
I don't know, man.
You know what? If I have a child and you're telling me I'm getting a movie with Jack Black, I'm taking it.
Yeah,
I don't know what
100%.
you say.
100%. I just don't know.
The director of this movie also directed Shallow Hal.
Yeah, no, I checked out what he's done. Because he's also done Stuck on You, your favorite movie.
Yeah.
So
That all checks out, doesn't it?
He did Dumb and Dumber 2. Not I like there's no everything I saw on his resume. I said, oh, that makes sense. Who the fuck gave you this job?
Even I feel like Shallow Hal had redeeming qualities to it.
Yeah, the one
they were at the end. They were at the end, but they were there.
I hated that movie. It was one of the few, again, Jack Black movies I didn't care for, but it could be because I'm a bigger guy. I don't care for that type of. I'm not super fan of that.
Oh no, especially now it's terrible. But at the end, there are still some decent lessons learned that people can get from it.
Yeah,
I didn't get that here.
No,
I can't remember the last time I ever saw this stupid Stuck on You. But I can't believe that there was one in there.
Is it Matt Damon and Greg Kinnear?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking so stupid.
Found a copy.
Such a stupid ass movie. The only good movie, if I remember correctly, that he did was Something About Mary. I think it was his first film
that
he
also
did.
Checks out with his style.
Yeah. And even then, like, it's just, anyways, this movie had no business being where it is. It has no business being in the Christmas universe. Honestly, it doesn't know what the fuck it wants to be. Save your money. Don't, or cancel your subscription to Hulu. Whatever you gotta do. Was it Hulu? I think so.
Yeah, Netflix.
No, not this one. Unless maybe.
Oh, no. Paramount Plus.
Yeah, Paramount Plus. Cancel that shit. You remember what those fuckers did to Halo? Let's get out of this shit. The only nice thing about that whole fucking movie, one of those kids had a goddamn Breath of the Wild poster. And I said, look at that kid go. He's a Zelda fan. Fuck yeah.
He directed Irene. I think I still like that one.
It's hit or miss, but I don't disagree. There are some questionable moments in that movie, but it is good.
Also, he only produced Something About Mary. I don't know if you still want to give him credit for that. He also produced Osmosis Jones, and that all checks out.
That's rough. Maybe he's the one that cast an attractive girl.
Reviewed.
Anyways, guys, let us know what you thought about it. If you saw it below, if you haven't seen it, don't do it. Save yourself. Go watch Cats instead. That's a fucking Christmas movie.
I would say of all the Christmas movies that are coming out this year, that this is not one that I feel like you need to hunker down for.
I'm willing to say go watch Red
Christmas
1.
Feels.
No, I'm willing to say go watch Red 1, and I've.
That's unfair to say without seeing it.
That's true.
Because it could be. I don't think, but it could be worse.
You know what? At least it knows what it's trying to be. This didn't. It knows exactly what it wants to be. It wants to be a Chris Evans, Dwayne Johnson jerk fest. Anyways, guys, I've been Michael.
This is Cleve, and every time a grown man sharts himself, a demon gets his horns.
I laughed at that one.